Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming to our second to last yoga core session. As always, just start please by checking you have a safe space, that there's no cords or slippery objects around you. You have a nice safe space. You can reach out, not bump anything. You can, kick forward and back and not kick anything over, okay? So we'll start on our backs as we always do. If you are more comfortable sitting, please, by all means, feel free to sit. We usually start on our backs because it is yoga core, and starting on our backs just helps us feel more through our spine and our back body, which helps us bring some awareness to what we might call the back core area. But sitting up too, you can definitely bring your attention and awareness to the back body as well. So I'm going to start lying back. Feel free to lie back or, sit up if you want to. If you're lying back, bend your knees. Bring your feet nice and grounded down to the floor. Arms can rest down by your sides, palms facing down. If you're sitting up, just checking in that you're not sitting, really rigid or tight. You can feel your sit bones nice and anchored. If you're sitting, you can feel your thigh bones releasing down to the floor. And just a soft, easy lift up through your spine. So as you find your supportive, stable shape, let's just give ourselves maybe 5 to 10 breaths here to be nice and quiet, to settle, to relax a little bit. Just giving yourself also some time to come into your body, feeling your body, breathing. Gentle reminder, we want to try and breathe in and out through the nose. As you become more comfortable and more settled, authentic breathing. So what does authentic breathing mean? It's pretty easy for us when we come to breath practices to want to control our breathing, hold the breath a little bit. Maybe we feel it's yoga and we should have a long breath. But authentic breathing is just that very, very natural breath that your body provides. So each breath is going to be different. It's feeling the spontaneous inhale, that spontaneous full exhale. Give yourself about 3 breaths. And then let's bring your hands to your lower rib cage. So feeling the lower ribs, you might go out wide, a little more around to the back where you have your floating ribs. Just palpating a little bit, just so you can feel, oh yeah, there's my ribs. Ooh. And then letting your hands rest on the sides and just taking a moment to feel that spontaneous breath underneath your hands. And this might help you feel the breath a little more out in your side body. And it might help you feel your breath a little more around in your back body. And so naturally, when we exhale, these lower ribs draw in. You might even feel them draw down. And when you inhale, they have some expanse, some width. They widen. So if we take about 3 more breaths here with that awareness, feeling and noticing and understanding that movement of the rib cage with your breathing. We're going to use this movement as cues for some of our exercises and some of our poses today. So having a little more feeling and understanding is going to be quite helpful in the next half an hour, okay? So inhaling this width, space, exhaling, ribs knitting, drawing together, maybe even feeling ribs drawing down, maybe feeling how the navel rests down. When you're ready, meaning you can feel that without your hands on your ribs or your abdominals, take your arms up towards the ceiling. And just holding your arms up towards the ceiling, you can let your arm bone feel a little heavier and draw it down into the floor a little more, okay? So the arm's gonna feel, for me, it feels a little heavier. Maybe you can check and see what that feels like for you, but I feel like my arm feels heavy as it draws down. And then nice and wide across the back of the ribs, we're gonna take the arms out like a T. And then we're gonna pull the arms back up towards the ceiling 4 more times. So the weight of the arm in the back of the shoulder might feel a little more challenging to keep some lightness and ease out through your hands, out through your fingers. And when you feel you've done about 5 here, we're gonna just take your arms out about halfway between the ceiling and the floor. And see if you can come back and feel the movement of those ribs as you're breathing. What do you feel down here in those lower, front, side, even the back ribs as you exhale and inhale? As you exhale, can you notice those front ribs drawing down and in. As you hold your arms up, you're using your upper back to hold the arm. So you're getting some wake up through the back core area. And as you're breathing, connecting your ribs and your abdominals. 2 more breaths. With this exhale, feeling the ribs draw down and in and the connection to the abdominals, we're gonna bend the elbows and bring your hands behind your head. You can stack your hands and really let your head get heavy into your hands. So your head is nice and heavy, supported through your hands. Shoulder blade. So you have your upper back, you have your shoulder blade, you have your tricep elbow connection. And that might feel a little similar to the last exercise, heavy arms in the back of the shoulders. Come back now, ribs drawing down, drawing in. And that's what's gonna lift your head a little bit. You're just gonna lift a little bit. Back of the arms, upper back holds the head. Check that you're not holding too much from the neck and the jaw. Wait for your exhale. And when you feel that exhale, when you feel the ribs knit down and in, you might lift a little bit higher and look into your belly. And then you can roll all the way back down, nice and long through your spine. So that was really slow. We're going to do one more that slow so we can all start to understand on a little different level this feeling of ribs knitting with your abdominals, okay? So taking an inhale, when you feel your ribs draw down and in, that's when the head floats up. And it's important that we pause for just a moment so we can learn and understand and feel what's going on in the neck and the jaw and eyes. It's so easy to get really tight and crampy in the neck. So then, got awareness of the upper back, shoulder blade to tricep, really letting this part of the body help hold the head, putting those two pieces together, coming up a little higher. Arms support the head and neck as you lower down. 3 more on your own. So putting those pieces together, exhale, ribs, abdominals, knit, arms support the head as you come up. More from the arms and the back and less from the neck and the jaw on the sit-up. One more. And then we'll lower the head and lower the arms. Give yourself 3 or 4 breaths. If that was really tight in your neck, look both ways. Kind of work through the neck a little bit. We're going to switch gear and give the head and neck and the chest a little rest. I'm going to connect the legs into these lower abdominal muscles. Okay, so legs are an extension of this part of your core. So as we take a couple breaths again, we're going to try and still maintain that understanding of the ribs floating down and in. Navel to spine strength. Neutral spine, meaning you have your sweet little lumbar curve. We're going to just pick up your right knee. With an exhale, you're going to slowly lower your right foot back to the floor. Grounding through the right side. Left knee lifts right up over the left hip. And then slowly lowering down. Okay. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, lower. And you want to move at a speed, at a pace that follows your breath. So exhale, that's your cue to lower. Inhale, that's your cue to lift. Try not to wobble a whole lot side to side. We'll do one more on each leg or each side. When your left leg comes down this time, just pause. Just give yourself 3, 4, 5 breaths on your back. So here on your back, let's try and feel your feet about as heavy as your head. So if we had a couple weighted scales, your feet, the scale under your feet would be about the same weight as the scale underneath your head. And then we could put a scale underneath our pelvis and then one underneath our shoulders. So feet, pelvis, shoulders, head, about the same amount of weight. We're going to try and keep that awareness as you take your arms back up and we put those 2 exercises together. So interlacing or stacking your hands behind your head again. Head, shoulders, pelvis, feet, really heavy. So can you keep the same awareness, like 3 scales, the back, the pelvis, and the feet? As you exhale, use the breath, use the ribs, abdominals as your cue to do your sit-up. Hold your sit-up, 2 scales, pelvis, Back of the shoulders, feet can come up. Lower your spine. Left leg comes down, right leg comes down. Feet, pelvis, back of the ribs, shoulders, nice and heavy, those 4 scales. Exhale, feel the ribs, draw down and in, lift the head. Weighted through the feet, the pelvis, the back of the shoulder area. Left knee lifts, right knee lifts. Now the scale underneath your pelvis and your upper back shoulder area. Lower down with your inhale. Right leg comes down. Left leg comes down. 2 more. So you can move here on your own. Still moving with the awareness of the ribs drawing down and in. And just adding that idea of the scales for a little more challenge, which might help us wobble a little less side to side. When you're all finished, we'll just all meet up on our backs, resting, taking a couple breaths. No need to hurry. You want to move at your own pace. When you're resting, arms can come down. We'll take 3 authentic breaths. So remembering how we started on your backs. If you were sitting, try not to control your breath, breathing lightly in and out through your nose. Come back and you feel the rib abdominal connection again. So as you exhale, the ribs checking in. Are they still drawing down and in? As you inhale, is there some space and width? With your next exhale, we're going to roll over and build your tabletop. All right, so as you roll over, give yourself plenty of time to build your strong table. Let's wake up shoulders and wrists, okay? So when you get to your table, go ahead and give yourself some time to walk around on your wrists, your hands, strong fingers. You can walk way back to your knees. You can go out really wide. You can flip your hands around. You could walk on your knuckles. Spend about 5 more breaths doing this. So you could also come up and walk on your fingertips. And then we come back to our table. We're going to look down at our hands just so we can see strong fingers. So you have to claw the ground a little bit, that's okay. Okay, if your wrists are really stiff and having them right underneath your shoulder like this is uncomfortable, by all means, walk them out in front of your shoulders a little bit. That's going to change the flexion in the wrist, and that might help the wrist feel better. It might also really just help your shoulder. If you have a tight shoulder, walk your wrist out, okay? So then we're going to resist gravity with our spines. What does that mean? Well, when we come here, a lot of times when I'm teaching in person, I see this. See a lot of spines going down towards the floor. So to resist gravity, gravity wants to pull the spine to the floor, to your mat. So we're going to push down into your hands with lots of strength. Get your forearms engaged. So see if you can feel, if you claw a little bit, the forearms engaged, your arms strong, and your strong arm going up into the back of the socket. Okay, so arm into the back of the socket. We did that one on the floor when we drew the arm back, okay? Then your spine is gonna lift a little more or have a feeling of lifting a little more up into towards the ceiling. Careful, we don't want to tuck the tail like this. So these front hip bones are going to tip a little bit towards the floor. Long low back, long belly button to pubic bone, okay? So that's going to feel different for each one of us. So notice what you feel when you put those pieces together, okay? So arms, strong. Can you feel a little more of the upper back? You could even come across your shoulder blades, the space in the middle of the shoulder blade, wide across the back of the ribs, long through your lower belly, lower back, and the front of the hips tipping a little more than tucking like this, okay? So there's a lot of pieces, it takes a lot of time. So if you're a little confused, that's okay, don't worry about it. Just keep practicing as long as it's not feeling really pinched or tight somewhere, probably on the right, you're in the right angle, you're going the right way. So from here, if you want more challenge, lift your knees a little bit up off the floor, take 3 or 4 breaths. Challenge yourself, feel that core. We just woke it up with those little sit-ups, lower your knees. Okay, we're gonna just incrementally go a little higher and lower down. Okay, so we're gonna do 3, 4, 5 more of these. Take a break whenever you need to. Some of us might want to continue all the way up towards a downward facing dog. And then from your dog, coming back down to your floating table, to your table. Some of us, we might be tired. We might want to go right back to child's pose. All right, so let's do just a couple more. Challenge yourself appropriately. Remember, it takes quite a bit of strength to pause and take a break too, okay? So when you need a break, take it. And then we'll either meet in downward facing dog or tabletop or child's pose. And if child's pose doesn't work for you, just come on up and have a seat. So any one of those shapes, 3 more breaths. When we breathe, still trying to breathe nice and light in and out of your nose. If you're in downward facing dog, we're going to come back down to tabletop. If you're sitting or in child's pose, come back. Get more practice to build that strong downward facing dog, or that tabletop, sorry. And we're going to turn it into cat-cow. So we're going to slowly start to round the spine into your cat. And then go vertebra by vertebra into your cow. And in your own way of understanding how your head connects to your spine, can you feel that connection? Head, upper back, middle back, lower back, tail. We're going to do 3 more. Moving at your own pace as you go. After those 3, we'll meet back in tabletop. Pause in your tabletop to come back to feeling your breath. Remember how we started on our backs when we exhaled, feeling the ribs draw down and in. When we inhaled, there was some expansion and width with the ribs. That happens here as well. So just can you feel the breath, rib, abdominal connection? Nice and strong in your upper back. So shoulder blades on your back. Nice and strong, ribs to abdominals, nice and strong, navel to low back. Trying to keep this low back nice and long. You're going to slide your right leg straight back. You're going to take your left arm forward. One way we can start to feel a little more aware of the back is through the pelvis, those 2 hips, and your shoulders. So when you take your right leg back, did you drop your right hip? Is that right hip still about the same height as your left hip? When you took your left shoulder forward, similar, did you drop to one side? Are your shoulders still about the same height? Not collapsing through your spine, resisting gravity. If you want more, lifting your right leg a little bit, lifting your left arm, and then reaching the heel and the fingertips away from each other. Let your spine resist gravity. And then bring those two limbs back down. Take a cat pose, round. Take a cow pose, extension. Then build your tabletop again. When you feel you've got your tabletop, see if you can come back, feel the rib abdominal connection with your breathing. Okay, shoulders about the same height, hips about the same height. Take your left leg back. Take your right arm forward. Did the sag? Did the left hip drop? Okay, so can you use the shoulders and the hips to help us feel what we can't see in the back body, and then we can lift. When we lift, it's easy for the spine to drop or the ribs to go to the floor, so we have to resist gravity and then reach the arm and leg away and bring them back. Take a cat pose. Take a slow cow pose, noticing what you feel through your breath and your spine as we move. And come back to the table. One more time, right leg, left arm, a little quicker this time. This time, we're gonna reach them out, and then we're gonna bring them back in. Reach them out, exhale, bring them back in. Keeping the shoulders and the pelvis level, keeping the spine and the back body resisting gravity. Maybe you do 5. Take a break when you need to take a break. After 5, you come back, build your table. Take a cat-cow. Try and pay attention to the feelings of the spine as you move through the cat-cow. Moving at your own pace. Come back and build your table. Left leg goes back, right arm comes forward. The longer we're here, the easier it is to collapse in that spine like that. Let those ribs come to the floor. So you have to concentrate the whole time. Shoulders a little more level, hips a little more level. Try 5. If you do 2, that's awesome. If you do 1, that's awesome. Back to your table. This time, you could do your cat-cow, or if you prefer, stretch it out, taking a downward facing dog. So either 3, 4, 5 cat-cows or 5 breaths in your down dog. Feel free to take a child's pose if that's what you need. I'll be quiet for the next couple of breaths so you can just listen and hear your breath. Try and make that rib abdominal connection again with your breathing. And then when you're ready with an exhale, we're going to figure out how to come on up to standing. So depending what shape you're in, just slowly transition and try and come all the way on up. Whew, I just got lightheaded. And we'll take our feet wide. So we'll take a nice wide, strong stride. Hands can rest on your hips for a moment. And then a little bit like how we started, let's slide the hands up onto the lower ribs. And just maybe close the eyes or keep your eyes open. Just returning to the feeling. Natural, authentic rhythm of your breath. So I'm breathing pretty fast. My heart's going pretty quick. Honoring that. I don't need to change that. If you're breathing quick, Your heartbeat's going fast. We don't have to change that right now either. We're just gonna pay attention. Notice and feel how even when we're breathing fast, the ribs draw down and in. And when we exhale and the ribs go down and in, you might feel more of that deep hug sensation from those abdominals. Okay? And that deep hug sensation helps us feel that navel to spine connection. We're not squeezing it like we're trying to put on a pair of tight pants. It's just what happens. You feel those muscles, transverse abdominis or cummerbund muscles. Might even feel the slide and glide of deep muscle diaphragm. You're going to turn it into a slow sumo. You're going to exhale, come up. Inhale, go down. You could add resistance, so the action is going up and down. If you want more challenge, you're going to resist that. Keeping the awareness of navel to spine, ribs and abdominals. 2 more. And I'm going to go sideways so you can see what we're going to add on. Remember when we were on our backs and we had the arms up towards the ceiling and we felt like the arm was going to be a little bit heavier and draw into the back of the shoulder? So we're going to take both arms out in front of us here. We're going to try and keep this rib to abdominal connection, steadiness in the pelvis. And we're going to reach forward. See if we can feel the shoulder blades get nice and wide on your back. And then, like your arm was heavy on the floor, draw the arm back. We're going to try and resist moving your spine and your pelvis, and also your neck and your head. So just the arm drawing back, shoulder blade. What do you feel in the shoulder blade when the arm draws back? What do you feel in the shoulder blade as you reach the arm forward? Maybe you don't feel much in your shoulder blade, and that's okay. It can be pretty hard, I think, to learn how to feel parts of our body we can't see. So if you're having a little confusion feeling this, feel free, take one hand, come across and see if you can feel the shoulder blade. And you don't have to say which way it's going. You can just say, oh, I feel the shoulder blade moving. Maybe that's how you understand it. We're all going to understand how that shoulder blade's moving, what we feel in our own language. So then when you feel, okay, there's some movement there, where do you want to put your arms? So if you draw your arms way, way back, that might feel too tight. If you reach your arms way, way forward, that might not also feel so great. So putting your arm somewhere really strong and connecting it into your back. Then we're going to open up like a T and bring the arm forward. If you want, turn it into your sumo with the arms. So the arm connects into the shoulder. Shoulder blade moves on your back body, resisting some movement through your spine. Three more. And then we'll come on up. Pause, let your arms come down, take about 5 breaths. Again, it's an opportunity. It's okay if you're breathing fast, if your heart's going fast. You can stay in your body with a heart that's fast, the breath that's fast. 2 more breaths. We're going to step your feet wide again. Bring your hands back up on your ribs. Fingers like ribs. Can you feel your breath through the ribs, drawing down and in with that exhale? Feeling some space with the inhale. Ribs to abdominals. Can you feel a little more of that connection? And keeping your hands right where they are, see if you can soften through the shoulders. So that just really means you don't want to hike the shoulders up. You want the shoulders to draw down out of the ears. Left leg rolls in, right leg rolls out. Good. Exhale, bend the right knee. Inhale, straighten 2 more times. Next time the right knee's bent, pause. 3 breaths in your hands. Still here, ribs drawing down and in. If you want a little more challenge, tipping over. Taking your right elbow to your right knee, left hand on the left rib. Taking a couple breaths. A little more challenge, just let your right arm hang. Internal stabilization, 3 breaths. Shoulders down out of your ears. Feeling that rib abdominal connection. Coming all the way. Right leg rolls in, left leg rolls out. Pause. Rib abdominal connection with your breathing. Bending your left knee. Straighten. 2 more. Next time your left knee's bent, pause. Rib abdominal connection. Trying to feel a little more breath down here. Softening through the shoulders and the neck and the jaw. More challenging if you want it. Tipping over, elbow to knee. 3 breaths. Then more challenging, left arm. Shoulders down out of the ears. Strong internal stabilization. Coming all the way back up. Straightening the left leg, both legs. Step both legs together, arms. It's an opportunity to come back to your body, to your breath. Checking in, how do you feel? What do you notice here? Sometimes I notice when I'm breathing really fast in yoga class, I want to breathe slower, so I try to control my breath. It almost gives me a little panic, like, I gotta slow my breath down, I'm supposed to be doing yoga. One of the benefits of yoga practice is that our breath does get a little faster, that our heart rate changes. It goes from slow to fast, back and forth, along with our breathing. So one of the benefits of the practice is trying to stay, or practice is a better way to say it, practice being grounded with your faster heart rate. To feel our feet firmly planted and strong on the ground, even when the heart is a little fast, when the breath's a little quick. So those are some of the benefits, and just, there is my authentic breath. Just gonna notice it. Great, let's take the legs just underneath your hips. Let's bend the knees a little bit. Bring your hands down on your thigh bones. Okay, so hip creases are gonna press back. Let your spine resist gravity, because it wants to maybe come forward like this. Maybe you want to extra push your butt out. Maybe you're someone who likes to tuck a lot. So just explore trying to find that neutral spine, ears and shoulders, little S-curve spine through the back of the head to the tail. Navel to low back strength, ribs to abdominals. Shoulder stretch is going to be a little more challenging. Can you take your arms up, stretch through the front of the shoulders, keep the ribs drawing back. Lift up, so ground through your heels a lot. You should be able to see your toes stretch up, reach, and when you're ready, bend your knees and fold forward. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, bend your knees as much as you need to fold forward, and then walk your hands and feet apart and find downward facing dog. From your downward facing dog, unlimited places we can go. You might want a straight arm plank. You might want table. You might want to do some cat-cows. You might want child's pose. If you're in plank, hang out there. Challenge yourself to maybe 5 to 8 more breaths. If you're doing cat-cow, and somewhere along your cat-cow, it feels really great. You can pause. If there's some place in your cat-cow, you have some inquiry, you're curious, pause. If you're in child's pose, breathing through your back, you can always roll over onto your side. And always, always, always come onto your back and draw your knees into your chest. So wherever you are, we're going to transition onto your back after 3 breaths. So be really aware and feel 3 full breaths in your body. And then whatever shape you're in, release that shape and then slowly transition all the way back onto your back. If that's how you started, and coming onto your back. If it feels good on your low back, drawing your knees in. Maybe rocking side to side. Others of us, it might feel really good to just stretch out through the back of your hamstrings a little bit. Give yourself a moment or 2, and then we're going to bring the feet down. Bring the arms down by your side. And then return to that feeling of connecting to the ground. You feel the ground beneath you. And knowing and feeling that that ground is going to hold you up. We spend a lot of our day holding ourselves up. So right now, you have the floor to hold you. Just releasing into the floor. If you find it helpful, you could put a hand on your chest and one on your lower belly. We're going to take the last minute here just to breathe and relax on our own. Coming back into your body. Feeling the mechanics of your breath. You might come back to the ribs moving. You might come back to the feeling under your belly button, under your navel. The feeling of the breath in your back. Breathing in and out through your nose. I'm going to be really quiet for just a little bit, 5 more breaths. Just noticing what it feels like in your body to exhale. Noticing in your body what it feels like to inhale. And then with the next couple of breaths, when you're ready, just starting to add some movement. Might wiggle your fingers and toes, feeling what that feels like. Might draw your knees into your chest and rock a little bit side to side. Might roll over to the easiest side and pause and breathe through your back. And then with the next couple breaths, we'll just slowly roll on up to sitting. So as you come up, you can reach your arms up and just take a nice upper body stretch. We'll go in to Q&A in about 10 seconds. Thank you all so much for taking time out of your really busy day, out of your busy week to come to Yoga Court. It really means a lot to us when you show up and practice with us. So big high fives. It's very much appreciated.